Back in 2017, Richard Allen told an Indiana State Conservation officer that he was on the Monon High Bridge the afternoon that Abby Williams and Libby German were murdered. But his statement got lost in the shuffle for 5 years until the state police told a team of detectives to take one more look at the Delphi case files. And that is when they started putting the pieces together. And the answer was right in front of them the whole time. You're not going to believe this. Hey, I'm Amy. This is True Crime Recaps. This is the only channel that's giving you all the crime in half the time. If you've only got a few minutes to get all the facts with none of the fluff, you're in the right place. If that sounds good to you, it would mean a lot to us if you would hit that like button and remember to subscribe so you never miss a recap. Now, hold on to your hair because based on an unsealed affidavit, a single bullet, some eyewitnesses, and a forgotten piece of evidence are what's linking CVS pharmacy technician Rick Allen to the gruesome murders of Libby and Abby. Let's start all the way back in 2017. It's February 13th, and 13-year-old Abby and her best friend, 14-year-old Libby, want to get out of the house and do something. It's a nice day. They have the day off from school. They're restless. So Libby's sister drops them off at the Delphi Historic Trails a little before 2 p.m. Her dad was planning to pick them up around 3, but they never showed. The last place they were seen was the Monon High Bridge. It's an abandoned railroad trestle that spans Deer Creek. At 2:07 p.m., Libby posted a picture of Abby on Snapchat posing on the bridge. At 2:13 p.m., she turned on her camera again, this time in secret. With the phone held low to her body, she managed to get this video of a heavyset man in a blue jacket coming across the bridge toward them. Police later released this audio of him telling them to go down the hill.
Guys. Down the hill. Guys.
So a volunteer search party found their bodies the next day, posed in some kind of gruesome way that the police won't talk about publicly. They were less than a quarter of a mile northeast of the bridge on the other side of Deer Creek. Some of their clothes were also found in the water. Now, since that Valentine's Day, the police have been very quiet about the details of the investigation, not even releasing how the girls were killed, although there's been plenty of online speculation, but little to no actual progress until now. With the unsealed affidavit, we can fill in a lot of missing pieces, starting with the audio from Libby's phone and a piece of evidence they found at the crime scene. One of the girls said the word gun, and then a .40 caliber round from a Sig Sauer was found on the ground between the girls' bodies. Apparently, when a round is ejected but not fired, it leaves marks unique to the type of weapon it came from. And Rick Allen owns a Sig. We're going to come back to this. But for now, you need to get a better picture of the area. If you walk about a half-mile northwest from the Monon High Bridge, you come to Freedom Bridge. That's a pedestrian bridge that gets you onto the Monon High Trail. It's like one of many trailheads. Okay, so with that in mind, let's rewind about 20 minutes before Libby and Abby are dropped off. So a group of teenagers, they're out and about, they're walking the trails, they're passing some time, they're taking photos, they're basically doing exactly what Libby and Abby were intending to. So now they're on their way home and they're walking towards the Freedom Bridge when a creepy guy passed them. So they're polite. They say hi to him, but he just glared at them and kept walking with a purpose like he knew where he was going. Keep that phrase in the back of your mind. So later, when the news about the girls' murders came out, these teenagers went to the police and gave them a description of the man they saw. And they remembered him being a white guy, heavy set, about 5'10", wearing dark clothes, a blue jacket, jeans, hat on, his face kind of covered. Allegedly, the guy in the video that Libby managed to grab. Around the same time that the teenagers are leaving for home, a woman is taking a nature walk along the trails, and she comes to the Monon High Bridge. She sees a man, same kind of guy matching the description the teenagers gave, standing on the first platform of the bridge. He's about 50 feet from her. She turns around and heads back down the trail. As she's walking, two teenage girls pass her headed toward the bridge. Libby and Abby. She sees no other adults, just the man on the bridge. The man that Abby and Libby are headed straight for. Though according to the affidavit, no one else in the park saw this man or the girls after that. Then, just before 4 p.m., a woman driving east on County Road 300 North sees something bizarre. A man in muddy, bloody clothes, looking like he just got into some kind of a fight, is walking the opposite direction. And lo and behold, he fits the description that the people in the park later gave the police. Heavy set, blue coat, etc. He's headed toward the old Child Protective Services building. As it happens, the same woman that saw that man standing on the bridge, she also noticed a car parked at that building when she drove away at 2:14 p.m. It caught her attention because it was backed in close to the building, like the driver didn't want anyone to see the license plate. And she wasn't the only one who saw it. Another person driving past later told police that they saw the car there too. At the time, Rick owned a 2016 black Ford Focus, which looks a lot like that description. But more importantly than the type of car he owned was the fact that he was there at the exact same time the group of teenagers and the woman saw that creepy guy on the trails. And we know he was there because he told a conservation officer he was there back in 2017. Oh, here's what he had to say according to the affidavit. He went to the bridge between 1:30 and 3:30. He claimed he never saw Abby and Libby. He did say he saw the group of teenage girls, the girls that thought he was creepy, but he didn't talk to them. And he said he parked at that building, although he called it the old Farm Bureau building, even though Farm Bureau has never been in that location. But the police are assuming he meant the old Child Services building. He claimed he didn't see anyone else because he was taking a nature walk while watching a stock ticker on his phone, as one does. And then he said he stood on the first platform of the bridge to watch the fish in the river below. Which, I mean, were they dolphins? That bridge is 63 feet up. Anyhow, after that, he said he went and sat on a bench on the trail and then left. Of course, police believe that the creepy man that the teenagers saw, the man on the bridge spotted by that solo woman, and the muddy, bloody man witnessed by the driver were all the same guy. 50-year-old married father, longtime well-liked Delphi resident, Rick Allen. And instead of leaving like he claimed, police say he doubled back to the bridge and murdered the girls. But no one ever knew the guy was there because his statement was filed in the wrong place. So it wasn't pursued until 2022 when they took, another look through everything, and then some eagle-eyed person spotted it. And that's when he was arrested and charged on October 26. So who is this guy? At the time of the murders, he would have been 44. He and his wife and their daughter lived in Delphi since 2006. In fact, their house was less than 5 minutes from where the bodies were found. He worked in the CVS and he even processed some photos for the girls' memorial for free, along with his condolences. If he's found guilty, this guy is a cliche killer, just a quiet, normal guy that no one would suspect could be capable of something like this. When police asked him about the gun, he told police he got it in 2001, but he's never loaned it to anyone, and he couldn't explain why a bullet from it would be found near their bodies. He also says he doesn't know Ron Logan, the owner of the property where they were found, and he would have had no reason to be in that area. Which brings us to the other aspect of this case. Police haven't ruled out the possibility that more than one man could have done this. In fact, WTRV quoted the prosecutor saying, "We have good reason to believe that Richard Allen was not alone. There could be as many as 2 or 3 other people involved," which is why they wanted to keep the affidavit sealed for so long, because something in it they felt would hamper their investigation. So let's talk about Ron Logan for a minute. Now, he was understandably one of the first interviewed. His house is only about 1,400 feet from the bodies, and he told police a friend picked him up between 2 and 2:30 and took him to an aquarium store on February 13th, the exact time when the girls went missing. But here's the thing. He lied. A family member later told police he called them the next day and asked them to tell police that he was gone until 5:30, and He made that call before the girls' bodies were found. Now, furthermore, according to a report in News Nation, quote, cell phone tower data showed Ron's cell phone was in Delphi in the area near the Monon High Bridge trail on the afternoon of February 13th. And a text message sent from his phone at 7:56 p.m. on that day showed that the phone was likely outside of his residence and in the proximity of the murder scene. However, when his house and property were searched, they didn't find anything linking him to the murders. Even though police believe the killer or killers took something, maybe a piece of clothing, something from the girls. Now, he never rose to the level of suspect, even though plenty of amateur detectives think he resembled Bridge Guy. And at least a few former FBI agents think he wasn't seriously considered because he was in his 70s. He died in January 2022, but could he have been an accomplice? But what about Keegan Klein, the, at the time, 22-year-old man police arrested for catfishing kids and child pornography? Then it was revealed that his catfish account under the name Anthony Schatz was the last to communicate with Libby German before her murder, according to WTHR. And the day after he found out the girls were killed, he allegedly texted someone that he and Libby were supposed to meet on the bridge, but she never showed. But was he the only one on the Anthony Schatz account? In the past, the police have hinted that there might be other people that had access to it. So are the pieces fitting together here? I mean, anything's possible, but if so, why wouldn't Rick Allen point the finger at Ron Logan or Keegan Klein, or especially Ron Logan because the guy's dead, or hell, anybody else just to get himself out of trouble? Assuming, of course, that police arrested the right man. Now, isn't now the time to start singing like a bird? And why would he keep the gun? A gun we have to assume was not fired during the murders. So maybe that's why he kept it, because he thought it was safe. Because people would have heard a shot and reported it if it had been fired. Am I right? And what about that .40 caliber bullet they found? How does an unspent round end up on the ground between two murder victims? Well, one former FBI agent told The Sun that the killer could have racked the gun to scare them into doing what he said, and the bullet came out. Why wouldn't he pick it up? Well, maybe in the heat of the moment, the posing of the bodies, the decorating of the scene. Again, police haven't offered details, but comments have been made from those who were there about a bizarre crime scene. Though given the timing between Libby's secret video recording at 2:13 and the muddy, bloody man walking along the road close to 4, that would give the killer about an hour or so with the bodies, considering, travel time. But there are still so many questions. Did Richard Allen tell someone he was at the park because he thought that the group of girls could ID him, so better to, put himself there? Or that his cell phone data would put him there? Why would he keep the telltale blue jacket? If the crime scene was staged, where did all the stuff come from? Did the killer put it there ahead of time? Did his accomplice meet him there? If you remember, the girls thought he was walking with a purpose towards the High Bridge. Did he allegedly know that the girls were going to be there ahead of time? Was he targeting them, or did he just get lucky? And why would any killer feel confident committing such a heinous crime in broad daylight with barely any tree cover since, it's winter, the trees are bare, especially with at least 1 or 2 houses around? Was the urge to kill so overpowering that he had to hunt? That is a terrifying thought that keeps me up at night. What about you? What do you think of this newly released information? Do you think he's the guy? Do you think that this is enough evidence to actually convict if he is? Let us know in the comments below.
And that's your recap.
Thanks for hanging out with us today.
If you like getting all the crime in half the time, go ahead and tap that subscribe button and the bell so you never miss a story.
We're here Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, but don't go away. Catch up on more recaps right here, right now.
Until next time, take care.